Welcome to the Just a Decision podcast, where we speak to our guests about the decisions they made, the good, the bad, the regrets. Today's episode is Shots by Chalk and sponsored by Morning Dew Breath Spray. All natural breath spray, 100% natural ingredients, alcohol free, no animal testing, vegan, SLS free. So today's guest, we have Miss Cieani Copes Sierra.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a long time since I've seen you. We reconnected, and you got a lot of stuff going on.
I do.
I invited you on the podcast. You said yes.
I did. Thank you.
Cool. So let's start the podcast with two questions.
Mm-hmm.
First question is, what's your favorite dish, and from where?
I am a bit of a travel bug.
Okay.
So I have traveled. I would have to say, even still, I'm true to my roots, and a good old, arroz con habichuela, white rice and beans, and some chicken and totones. I think we'll have to do it.
Okay. And from where?
My grandma's house.
Homemade cooking. And the second question is, someone gave you a blank check.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever number you write on it, it's going to cash. And your checking's not your savings. What's one of the first things you would buy?
Oh, my mama house.
Woo! I think that's like the third time someone said that.
My mama house.
And it's cool that most people that say it, they're not selfish. They're not thinking about themselves. It's always, let me buy something for someone else.
Yeah, she deserves it.
That's cool. So let's get into the journey of Miss Cieani Copes Sierra. What was little Cieani like?
Well, if you ask my family, little Cieani was bad.
What do you mean by bad?
I don't remember, but according to my family, I cried a lot. I was a crybaby.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't stay with anybody.
Okay.
Nobody wanted to watch me. So according to them, I was bad. But my childhood was, from what I can remember, it was a lot of fun. My mom worked really hard in making sure that myself and my brother, who came a little bit later on, that we had a memorable childhood. I remember beach trips, family trips, even if it were little things, aquarium, zoo, things like that. My childhood was great. My mom married when I was, I want to say 8 or 9. She got married, and we moved to a small little town out here, Magnolia.
Okay.
And I went to school there from 1st grade all the way up to 8th grade. And it was an amazing time. I had amazing friends. And yeah, I mean, I don't really remember much about baby Cieani, but like adolescent Cieani, I think she was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Growing up, is there any memories that something that you enjoyed, whether it was sports, school? Is there anything that you could think about that you enjoyed at a young age?
Honestly, I think it was a little bit of everything. I've always been a scholar my whole life, so I really, really enjoyed school. And the school that I went to really challenged me because it was not a school that you would see a lot of people that look like me. So the curriculum was a lot more challenging, but I enjoyed it thoroughly. I'm always up for a good challenge. So I was always a scholar in that regard. With sports, I was a sports kid my whole life. I grew up playing all the sports: basketball, soccer, softball. I really focused on softball throughout high school, but I played sports all my whole life. My mom made sure that I was in my travel teams, AAU teams, school teams, township teams. That woman, oh Lord, I don't even know how she made the time to get me to everywhere. And then she had my brother. So she was kind of like, you got to pick one because it's a lot.
Yeah.
So we ended up focusing on softball, but I was a sports kid. I stood to myself. I wasn't really too social. I wasn't like the loudest person in the room. It's different now. I wasn't always the loudest person in the room, but yeah, it was a little bit of everything I did. So
cool. Shout out to Mama Cieani.
Yeah.
One thing you
girl.
said, I know what you meant, but the audience might not. You said look like me.
Mhm.
What did you mean by that?
It was a predominantly white school.
Okay.
It was a predominantly Caucasian school.
Mhm.
I think within the whole entire school at that time, times have changed now, but at that time, I think there were about 15 of us
Okay.
throughout the whole entire school, K through 8.
Mhm.
And so it was a little bit of a challenge, especially because in my adolescent years, I want to say between 6th grade and 8th grade, I got bullied really badly.
Okay.
And it was really hard. I actually didn't come out and tell my mom that I was getting bullied until my 8th grade year. So I kept it a secret for a long time.
It started in like 1st grade or?
No. It started
Okay.
around 6th grade.
Okay.
And it started with little things. And then it turned into my lips were too big or my hair was too textured. And so those things started to slowly become bigger, and they started to affect me, how I viewed myself, the way that I dressed, the way that I, presented myself to people. I was always in, baggy clothes and things like that. I was a little bit of a heavier kid, so I got bullied a lot for my weight, coupled with the way that I looked. So that was really, really hard, but the school that I went to was a predominantly white school, and it was a challenge to navigate, especially because my mom hadn't gone to a school like that. My mom went to school in her hometown, Camden, New Jersey, where a lot of people look like her. So she didn't really know how to navigate, I guess you can say, racial disparities, in especially in the school setting. I was her first child. So it was rough, but ultimately we were able to, find a way out of it. Not proud to say that, I did get into a few fights in school, and I think that gave people more of a reason to say, people like her, it was more, and I didn't fight because I wanted to. I fought because the one occasion that I can remember is I got followed home by a group of girls. And
you walked, you didn't like take the bus?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
the town is very small.
Okay.
So the slogan for Magnolia is 1 square mile of happiness. So it's a very small town.
Okay.
Everybody knew everybody. You walked everywhere.
Okay.
So at that time, I was walking home. I walked everywhere. Homes, school, practice, everywhere. So I was walking home from school one day, and I noticed that there were a group of girls following me. And when I say group of girls, I mean like 7 girls, all bigger than me. And when I got home, I called my mom, and I'm like, hey, Mom, like, I'm feeling kind of weird. Like, there were people following me on my way home. And when I got home, they were waiting for me at my house. And so I don't know about you, but I was raised, if somebody put their hands on you, you fight back.
Yeah.
So that's, ultimately a lot of the situations that I was in that required me to be physical with somebody, was out of an act of getting myself out of a situation. And I think that gave people more ammo of, people like her they're aggressive, or I was the aggressor, or I was being mean or bullying people, when in reality, I was raised that things like this don't happen. When people put their hands on you, you fight back.
Yeah.
And you defend yourself no matter who it is. And so I wish that there was a different way that I was taught, take the high road, but that wasn't. So that within itself then caused a lot of friction at school, because I was deemed as, this aggressive person who put her hands on people, and that wasn't necessarily the case. So even though I was being bullied, I couldn't really say much of anything, because, the staff would look at me and say, oh, well, didn't you fight? And didn't you? So it was rough. I mean, I wasn't out here fighting all the time. Like, I'm not trying to make it seem like I was out here fighting every single day. But I can recall 2 fights that I had that were really tough. But, we made our way through.
Yeah. That's one thing I don't understand about childhood bullying. Like, everybody has their opinions of what they don't like. But to, like, tell a person that, want to hurt somebody because of it, it's just a wild thing that goes, I guess it's a childhood thing, that you don't like something, so I got to address it with the person, but that has nothing to do with me.
Yeah, it was definitely...
Stop bullying people.
At that point, it was actually in the era of the new era of Instagram. Instagram had just dropped.
Okay.
So cyberbullying wasn't really like a big thing yet. So it was in-person bullying. Like people would, and these girls were so nasty. Like they would throw food at me. There was a point in time where I was eating lunch in the bathroom because I was just like, listen, I don't want to deal with this. Like I can't deal with this. I would eat lunch in my teachers' classrooms.
Wow.
Yeah, it was rough. It was really, really rough. And I think the worst of it was my 8th grade year.
Okay.
And I think it was just everything that was going on at that point. My parents were going through a divorce or, about to divorce, I should say. So I had that. Then we were trying to figure out, my mom had made mention at that point, like, hey, your father and I are separating. We're moving. So I was having to move, leave all my friends. My parents were getting a divorce.
Wow.
And then, I'm getting bullied at school. So it was a lot. But oddly enough, I'm grateful for it because I feel like it helped me become resilient at a very young age, especially having everything happening at one time. It was just like thing after thing after thing. So it was hard, but would I change it? No. And I think that being in a school that was predominantly predominantly Caucasian population, I think it taught me a lot about the real world. And it taught me a lot about the fact that people aren't going to give you anything. You have to work twice as hard to be just as good. And I think that learning that at a young age really helped mold me as an adult.
Yeah. When you said you don't know how I was raised, I had 3 rules. My dad said it might sound kind of punkish, but the first rule is you try to get away. If someone wants to fight you, try to get away. He says, if you try to get away, I'll be thankful. 2, you ask for help. I don't care who you ask for help, but you try to ask for help. Then the 3rd is not a real step, but you try to do them at the same time. Try to get away, ask for help.
Ask for help, yeah.
And the last step is, if you can't get away and no one's helping you, you give them everything they ask for.
Yeah, listen.
And he said, you do those 3 steps, I'll be fine if you get into fights. So luckily, I've never experienced bullying because I guess my dad, he was a drill sergeant in the Army. Oh. So like those, I guess, vices of being yelled at, and I don't care if you don't know if I like you. So when people said I don't like you, I was like, my dad told me all the time he doesn't like me. So I know my dad loved me, but it was getting you ready for, because I think a scary part in childhood is when you lose your innocence and you realize the world is not all nice. Because you're watching cartoons, you're watching TV, your family loves you. And then once you start stepping into the real world, you realize, oh, what's going on? I thought everybody's supposed to love me, take care of me, look out for me. Yeah. And then you're like, what is this bullying? But it sucks that happens to people. And it sucks that some people even have to get physically violent to protect themselves and their feelings. Cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
So what was your thoughts about going to high school? Like, 'cause some people are like homeschooled in high school, they're private school, public school. What was that next step?
High school was rough.
Okay.
High school was
I'm sorry.
rough.
Sorry you went through a rough school.
High school was, it was hard.
Okay.
So.
Where'd you go?
That's why it was hard.
Okay.
I went to 3 different high schools.
Okay.
I moved around a lot. I went to, so like I said before, in my 8th grade year, my mom and my dad separated. And then going into my freshman year, we moved to Pennsauken. Okay. So I started at a new school, new friends, everything. I was at Pennsauken. And then after my freshman year at Pennsauken, my mom was like, hey, we're moving again. Pack your bags, we're going to Georgia.
Wow.
So we moved to Georgia, and I did my sophomore year of high school in Georgia.
Okay.
At the end of my sophomore year of high school in Georgia, my mom said, okay, pack your bags, we're moving to Philly.
Wow.
So I did my junior year in Philadelphia. And then I told my mom after, I believe I was only at that school for 4 months. I think I was only there for about half the year. And then I told my mom, I said, Ma, I can't do this. Like, the school was just, the dynamic at the school in Philly was just so different than what I was used to, that I told my mom, I said, I can't do this. Like, I literally can't. I was going insane because it was just such a, like I said, I grew up in a very predominantly white school. So I was not used to seeing a lot of the things that went on in the school in Philly, like the drugs, the drinking. Kids were skipping class to go do craziness.
Wow.
And I'm telling my mom, like, Mom, I can't do this. Like, I'm going to lose my mind. And so she was like, all right, so let's see if we can get you back into Pennsauken. And I really, 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 really fought with my mom to get back to Pennsauken because it was the first school that I went to that I was actually able to make friends.
Okay.
So my sophomore year when I went to school in Georgia, I didn't really make too many friends because I didn't know if I was going to move again.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, I'm just here. Like, we just going to rock out. And, I stayed in my schooling. I did not play any sports while I was out there because, again, I didn't know if we were staying. I didn't want to allow myself to build a life to have it get ripped away because that's what happened in Pennsauken. Initially, I went there. I was like, okay, this is a fresh start. I'm going to make friends. I'm going to join the softball team. I'm going to be great. And then at the end of the year, my mom was like, we're moving.
Wow.
So my sophomore year, I was like, all right, I'm just a loner kid. Like, I'm the new kid. They actually used to call me Jersey.
Okay.
So fun fact, down south, everybody thinks that we have accents.
Okay.
So when I was in school there, they would all be like, you got such a Jersey accent. And I'm like, I don't have an accent. You guys have accents. So, but that's my sophomore year. I told my mom, I said, I really just want to focus on school. And then if you decide that you want to leave, I'll be okay with that because I don't really have much of a life here anyway. It was hard because I missed my family. My mom moved to Georgia with nobody.
Wow.
We had no family, no friends. My mom didn't have a job out there, nothing. She got a job when we got there. But she kind of just packed up and left. At that time, my mom was going, well, as a family, we were going through a lot. My great-grandmother had just passed away. And my mom said, if I'm going to do anything at any time, it's going to be now. Nothing is holding me back in Jersey anymore. My grandmom's not here, so I want to leave. So we ended up leaving. And my mom sold everything. When I say everything, I mean couches, dining room table, kitchen sets, everything. She sold everything, packed us in a car, and we drove 16 hours to Georgia.
Wow.
And when we got there, again, we knew absolutely nobody.
What made her choose Georgia?
I don't know.
Okay. Maybe like two states away, three.
No, if you ask her, she'll tell you that she's always wanted to go down south.
Okay.
My biological father is from South Carolina. So she said that she spent a lot of time down south and she really fell in love with the ambiance of down south, the culture, the people, the scenery. She really enjoyed it. So when she had the opportunity, she said, all right, I'm leaving. I'm out of here. Wow. And she went down south and she made a life for herself. She had a job and, she made friends. But I think with not having any support, it made it really, really hard on her because she had myself, and at that point, she had my brother. Okay. So she had 2 kids, and I was struggling with being so far away from my family that I couldn't have really been much help to her with my brother because I was so focused on what I had going on, like trying to process my feelings and my emotions. So I think it kind of just all caught up to her in the end, and she was just like, listen, I need to make the decision to leave for my kids because they're not thriving here. So it was rough. But again, like everything else, I'm grateful for it because I think that traveling so much made me learn how to like be on my P's and Q's, like learn how to pivot. Yeah. And be like, all right, new place, new friends, new place, new friends, so was it hard? Yeah, but would I change it? No.
So my first question, when you say Georgia, is it like, was it city life or was like rural life? Like
it was like a mix of both. So we moved to Stone Mountain, Georgia. I went to high school at Redan High School. Stone Mountain is, I believe it was about 45 minutes out of like Buckhead, Atlanta, or like main city Atlanta. So we weren't too close, weren't too far. Okay. It wasn't super country though. Like we weren't in the middle of like no fields or nothing nowhere. But our house was beautiful. Oh, it was so nice. I loved that house. It was so pretty. It was we had a garage, a basement. It was beautiful. But it was empty. So, and I think my mom felt that. And I think my mom knew that she wasn't thriving the way she wanted to. So yeah, she was like, yeah, let's leave.
Gotcha. So elementary school to 8th grade, you were bullying, and then you went to 3 different states and 3 different high schools. Did you ever experience bullying again, or?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. I actually got bullied in all the schools except for Pennsauken.
Okay.
Yeah, I got bullied. That's actually one of the reasons why I left school in Philadelphia. I got jumped.
Wow.
Yeah, and my mom was like, "Yeah, no, we're not doing this." So she pulled me.
Okay.
She pulled me from school. She was like, "Because if I can't," my mom was working at that point a lot, probably 55 hours a week, maybe. She had her own business, and she was working at an establishment. So my mom has been doing hair for like 30 plus years. Or not 30 years, wow. Probably like 20 years, a little bit over 20 years. And so she was doing hair on the side, and she was working at a hair salon on her own. So she was putting in a lot of hours, so she couldn't be home with us all the time. And because of that, she didn't feel safe with me being at that school, because she never knew if something was going to happen, if something was going to pop off, if somebody felt the way, and she couldn't get to me fast enough. So the one time, and I think when I got jumped in Philly, my mom was on the phone, and I think that really did it for her. Like,
wait, you were talking to her while it happened?
Yeah, I was on the phone with my mom. On my way I'll never forget it, on my way to go pick up my little brother from school. It was about a 10-minute walk from my school to my brother's school. And I was walking to go get my brother, and I'm on the phone with my mom, and I thought I heard somebody call my name. And I'm like, no, I'm tripping. Like, I'm on the phone with my mom, like, hey, Mom, I'm on my way to go get my brother. And out of nowhere, somebody knocked me in the back of the head.
Wow.
And my phone fell, and my mom heard the fight on the phone. And she didn't know what was going on. She couldn't get to me. And then a cop ended up picking up my phone and telling her, like, we have your daughter. We're going to let her go home. The person who, assaulted her, we have them in the back of our car. You need to come.
Wow.
And she dropped everything and came. And I think after that, it really settled in that, like, all right, we got to get her out of here. And then in Georgia, ironically enough, it was the same stuff that was when I went to school in Magnolia. It was the way that I talked, the way that I looked. I know one girl, she said that she didn't like me because my hair was real. So it was a very, like, odd. And having these experiences, it made me look at myself kind of different, because I'm like, I mean, there's nothing that I could do about that. Like, it made me very self-conscious, because I'm like, all right, my lips are big, but there's nothing that I could do about that. Like, my hair I have nice hair, but there's nothing I can do about that. Like, should I just cut it off? Like, I used to try to conform to fit in other people's boxes for me. And that really took a toll on my self-esteem all throughout high school.
Wow.
That was really hard for me to navigate, trying to figure out what I could do to appease other people. And it wasn't until after I graduated high school that I was like, man, bump y'all. Like, I'm going to do whatever I want. And if you don't like it, whatever. But when you're in those younger years, like 13 to like 16, 17, you're in that weird space where you're like trying to have friends, find friends. You start like liking people. And it's like, I don't want to step on toes. And I don't, once you get out of that, it's like, all right, I'm going to do what I want. And the people that are going to rock with me, going to rock with me.
Yeah. I'm so sorry that you went through all that. I'm sincere, because it sucks that you have to go through that, not just once, but in multiple times, in multiple places. And it like hurts me inside that I couldn't be right next to you. They're like, it's no jumping here. But as an adult looking back, I don't know if you want to look into that camera, and the youth going through bullying right now, what's something you could say to them to, I don't know, encourage, or just, I don't know, whatever message you have for them?
So I'm going to quote a song that didn't really mean a lot to me at the time. I didn't really understand it until I was older. But I think Drake said it best, that jealousy is just love and hate at the same time. And people who are mean to you, people who bully you, people who try to, talk down on you, there's something inside of them that they don't like, that they're trying to project onto you. And it's up to you to decide whether or not you're going to accept what they're telling you. But don't let anybody bully you, man. Pick your head up. I actually have a tattoo on my back that says, heavy is the head that wears the crown. So pick your head up, pick up your crown. Don't let nobody talk to you crazy. And yeah, you are exactly who you think you are.
I love that. And stop bullying people.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, and y'all parents, get y'all kids. They rude.
Quick question. Did we ever hit the record button? Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. I don't know why I was just thinking about that. It just popped in my head.
Yeah, I hit it.
Oh, okay.
It's still recording.
All right, cool. That's gonna be a good clip. After high school, most people, entrepreneur, going to you try to do entrepreneurship. You go into the workforce, possibly the military, or college. What was your life decisions?
College.
Nice.
College. I'm a college girl through and through.
Okay.
I went to college straight out of high school. Actually, a funny story about college. Last minute. So my senior year of high school, I applied to the University of Alabama.
Okay. So you were still in Jersey your senior year of high school?
Yes. My senior year of high school, I graduated from Pennsauken.
Cool. Clap it
up. So, class of 2016. I'm showing my age. After I lost my train of thought.
We're after high school. You applied to University of Alabama.
Yes. Okay. So yes, I got accepted to the University of Alabama, and my mom said absolutely not. My mom said after what we went through in Georgia, absolutely not. I am not sending my black child to Alabama by herself with nobody out there. No, thank you. So I was like, all right. So what do I do now? Like, where do I turn? And she was like, I don't know, girl, but you better figure it out. But you're not going out there. So I said, all right, let me give community college a shot. And my mom was so upset that I had decided the community college route because when I was going into college, community college was not as big as it is now.
Yeah.
It was like where the rejects go or like people who couldn't make it into university went. So my mom was like, I did not work this hard for you to end up going to community college. And I'm like, it's really not that bad. Like, and it's cheaper.
Yeah.
And she was really upset. And I told her, I said, Mom, this is the only decision. Like, this is the only way that I can go to school. I had already missed all the deadlines for all the other schools. So I'm like, listen, I'll go here for a semester. We'll thug it out. And then while I'm in there, I'll apply to the other schools for early admissions for second semester freshmen. So that's essentially what I ended up doing. My first semester of college, I ended up applying to the University of Georgia. Okay. I ended up getting accepted to the University of Georgia as a transfer. And then 2 weeks before I was supposed to leave, I called my mom and said, I'm not going.
Wow.
And she was like, what do you mean you're not going? And I was like, Mom, I just need to think about like my future because the goal and the objective was to go to law school. That was always what my intention was. I always had a foot in the legal world. My mom worked in the law field when I was growing up. I was always surrounded by attorneys. So that's what I wanted to do. And I wanted to make the best decision that would put me in the best financial state once I graduated from undergrad to take on this debt from law school. So I told my mom, I said, it doesn't make sense financially for me to go to Georgia just to say that I went to school in Georgia. So I'm going to stay at community college. Oh, she was so upset. She was like, that's not what we agreed on. Like, you said that you were going to leave. And I was like, yeah, but sorry, plans changed. So I ended up staying at community college. At that point, my school had rolled out the 2+2 program. Okay. Which was 2 years of community college. And then you get, 3+1. So you get to stay at community college. You get 3 years at community college tuition. And then your fourth year, you pay university tuition at a discounted rate because you're taking your classes on a community college campus. Okay. So that's what I ended up doing. I graduated from Rowan University with no debt. Yeah, thank you. So I was able to. I'm a
alumni too, if you didn't know.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yep.
So yeah, I was able to graduate college with no debt because of the 3+1 program. And then when it was all said and done, my mom was like, I'm so proud of you. Yeah. Like, congratulations. And I'm like, yeah, all the grief you gave me for wanting to stay here.
So was it like you took classes Rowan at Camden?
Rowan at RCBC.
Okay.
So
that's
RCBC
Blackwood.
that's
Gloucester County.
Marlton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Burlington.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah.
oh, got you.
So at that point, it was Rowan College at Burlington County, which was like a subdivision of Rowan University.
Okay.
and they had like their adjuncts on our campus.
Okay.
So I went to school there. I took all my classes there, and then I got to walk at Rowan University graduation in 2022. I was a COVID senior. So I wasn't able to walk at graduation originally.
Gotcha.
And then I was able to walk the following year.
Yeah. One thing I hear you talking about your mom, it's cool that you had that rapport with your mom where you could have, I guess, honest conversations, because most people will, I guess, think about college and I'm going to do what my parents want me to do. So for you and your mom to have that rapport where you're like, Mom, I don't feel like doing this, and her being, I guess, open and receptive to it, that's cool that you had a relationship, because me and my dad, it was like, do what you said, do what I say, and that's it. And you're like, all right, you got that one?
Well, my mom, she was like that, but I wasn't living with her at the time. I was living with my grandmom. I ended up moving out of. It's actually funny that you say that. My mom and I had a really good relationship. My mom and I relationship was very rocky, for a long time, and because of the state of our relationship, at 17, I moved into my grandma's house.
Oh wow!
And so I lived with my grandma all throughout college, from 17 to I believe I was 22, 21 or 22 when I moved out of my grandma's house. But I moved into my grandma's house my senior year of high school, because my relationship with my mom was just so rocky that I was just like, listen, this isn't working for either of us. And my mom was like, all right, go.
Wow.
And so I ended up living with my grandma. And I can honestly say that moving out of my mom's house made our relationship so much better, because my mom and I are so much alike that two people in a house like that, it just was not working. So I was just like, you know what, I'm out. And she was like, all right, bye. And that really, it was like a reprieve. It was like, all right, we can breathe. But my mom allowed me to make decisions for myself. My mom, she still is a helicopter parent, but she also believes in your own, like, being able to make your own decisions. So she might tell me, Cieani, she might tell me, like, Cieani, that's a dumb decision. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Or Cieani, that's stupid. But she won't tell me, like, you're not doing that. So she'll just watch me fall and then be there to pick me up if I do.
That's cool. College and community college and a university, that whole stigma, like you said, going to community college, you shouldn't do that. You're looked down upon. If you want to look into that camera again, the high schooler, I guess senior, that are like, should I go away? Should I stay home? Should I go to community college? What's some, I guess, now looking back at that, and what's some advice you would give that person trying to make that decision?
Do what makes sense for you. If going away makes sense for you, do it. If staying local makes sense for you, do it. If you were like me and didn't really have a care either which way, do it. I think community college now has a better reputation because of the numbers that it's producing. Yeah. And like I said, there's the 3+1 program. Now they're also offering a 4+1 or a 4+2, where you can get your bachelor's degree and your master's degree through, starting off at a community college. So there's a lot of different avenues. My brother's in community college, and it was actually very heartfelt, like heartwarming, when my brother came to me and said, I want to go to college, but I don't really know what I want to do. Like, can you help me? Because when I was going through my applications and stuff for college, I didn't have anybody to help me. The only person that had gone to college in my family, but like my immediate family, was my aunt. Yeah. And she had her own life going on, and I'm not the type of person that's like, hey, can I bother you for 30 minutes of your time to walk me through a FAFSA or, so yeah. I had to figure it out. And so it was really, really nice when my brother could call me and say, hey, can you help me? Because I didn't have that. And so being able to help him walk through this season has been a joy, because nice. I'm like, if I had me at your age, I would have been so different. Yeah. But yeah, I think community college is a great option, especially if you don't know where you want to go after. Yeah. Or you don't know what you want to do. Get your associate's degree, which is all your gen eds, and then figure it out from there. Yeah. But do something in the waiting. Do your part in the waiting. Don't just wait and be still. Yeah. I love that you said, if I had me when I'm helping you with right now, my dad always says, my ceiling is your foundation. Oh, that's good. And I'm like, when he be talking, we butt heads all the time. Yeah. But sometimes I'm like, you got that one. That was nice. Good. That was nice. So it's cool. Me,
I don't know if you were extrovert or introvert in college. Me, I was always out and about.
Mm-hmm.
But I found someone, Miss Tanya Bagby. I don't know if she's still at Rowan. Miss Tanya Bagby, thank you. But she was my go-to person because most people don't have nobody. I was like, Miss Bagby, what I do? All right, we're gonna do this. You gotta do this. You do this. So it's cool to find that person that's gonna help you with the FAFSA, help you with documents, because it makes you feel a little bit more comfortable that everything's gonna be okay, and I'm doing the right things to get to the end goal.
Yeah.
In college, were you working at all? Focused on school or?
I worked 2 jobs in college.
Sheesh.
So I worked at TD Bank call center.
Okay.
During the night, and then I worked at Wawa.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was going to school full time. I was going to school when I was in college. I actually graduated college early. Because I went to school all year round, summer, spring, fall, winter session.
Wow.
Because I wanted to get it done. Like I said, the end goal was law school.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to get in and out as soon as I could. So I put myself through school. I worked 2 jobs, and it was very difficult because I worked at night at the call center. The call center's open 24 hours.
Okay.
So I worked at night there, and then I worked at Wawa, and I found some way to go to school and to eat and sleep and do all the things.
Nice. Clap it up. What was your degree in?
My degree, so I actually have a dual degree.
Okay. Whoa, and you forgot that part. She got 2 degrees. She did a twofer.
I have a degree in psychology and a degree in criminal justice.
Nice.
Yes.
Cool. So after college, I feel like that's another I say not a rocky, but it's uncertain that you can go to the military after college. You can start a family, go straight into the work field. Work field. What was the next decisions in life after college?
After college, I jumped right into work.
Okay.
I worked as a paralegal.
So you went right into your career
I went right
field.
into my field.
Some people have that area where they're still like, I can't find a job. What do I do?
Nope, that didn't happen. I went right into the workforce. I worked as a paralegal. I did some legal secretary work, and I stood there for a little while, and then COVID happened.
Wow.
Yeah, COVID happened, and the courts were closed.
Okay.
And so kind of had to just figure it out. And then COVID derailed everything. And so the practice that I was working for before it closed, and once we came out of COVID, I ended up working at another law firm. I did do a little bit of banking in there. I did used to work at PNC Bank for a little bit. And then, I went straight into working. And I'm studying for my LSAT, for my law school test.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy, I guess a lot of people get their degree and they say, I'm going to love this. I've been working my whole life. And then they get into it and they're like, this shit sucks. But did you enjoy being a paralegal?
I still do.
Okay.
I still enjoy it. You learn a lot. I learned a lot about the law system that I did not like. And so as I worked as a paralegal, I loved the work that I did. I did not like the system that I did it for because I started to be able to read between the lines with our legal system. And it really turned me away from wanting to be a part of something so no.
Okay. I sense the word you wanted to say. It might start with a C and end with a T, but we don't have to say the word.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that people don't know.
Yeah.
And I worked for a criminal defense attorney.
Okay.
So we see a lot of the other side of things that the state doesn't do or say or things like that. And it really made me take a step back and say, I don't know if I want to do this for the rest of my life. I love the idea of helping people. Everybody's still like, there's people who call me and they're like, Cieani, what do I do? And I'm like, bro, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. Like, I can't, I'm very knowledgeable in the area, but I'm not like, I tell people all the time, like, it's a harsh system. It's a very harsh system. And it really put me in a space that, like, I don't know if I could do this for the rest of my life. Yeah. So.
I know you said you loved the work when you got into it. I guess to put a bad taste in your mouth to learning what you really learned. Do you regret getting that degree in law and justice? And is there something where you like, I wish I would have got a degree in that, or you
No.
happy? Okay.
No. I wouldn't have changed it because I feel like it's a very broad degree. Even though I have my psychology degree, I feel like I wouldn't have changed it because I still enjoyed the work. I didn't enjoy the system. I enjoyed the work that I did.
Gotcha.
So it made it worthwhile being able to help people in that sense of I can help people who are in the system. I really enjoyed like advocacy work. The lawyers don't really do that. So so I don't regret it. I enjoyed my major in college too. I really enjoyed the classes that I took, the teachers that I had, the things that I was able to learn. I can say that I never used anything that I learned in school when I got out. All of the classes that I took, even the criminal justice classes, I never used them in my profession. But they were enjoyable at the time.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad everything's working out. What are you up to now?
These days. So I got married.
Nice.
Yeah, I got married. I had a son.
Cool.
The absolute joy of my life. My little one. He will be 1 in June. And so I was working in the courts, for the courts of New Jersey when I was pregnant. Okay. And after I had my son, my husband and I had a conversation, and I said, I don't think I want to go back. And my husband looked at me, he said, you don't think you want to go back where? And I said, I don't think I want to go back to work. And he was like, what that mean for us? And I was like, I don't know, let me figure it out. And my husband was super supportive about figuring out what this would look like for me not going back to work. And so, backtrack. A few years ago in 2023, I believe, 2022 or I think it was 22, 21, 23. I don't know, 22 or 23, one of those two. I was in a very, very, very dark place. Very, very dark place. Mental health had completely rocked my world. And when I say completely rocked my world, it was something that I've never seen before. Something that I never thought that a low that I never thought I was capable of reaching. And I ultimately, one day in 23, I believe, I tried to take my life. And my mom ended up finding me at home. And after that, my mom said, Cieani, we got to get you some help. We have to get you some help. Like, I can't do this anymore. Because at that point, I had been drinking. I had been using substances. I had been it was very, 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 very dark. And my mom said, we got to get you some help. So I said, all right, I agree. Let's get me some help. So she checked me into a mental facility. And while I was there, I ended up meeting a therapist, a psychiatrist, and I was ultimately diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. So I have borderline personality disorder. They also said that I had manic depressive disorder and severe anxiety. So those were the things, which the depression and anxiety, not to make them less than what they are, because those are very, very real things, and mental health is very, very important. But I didn't grow up in a family where you talked about those kind of things. So to me, I'm yeah, I have anxiety or I have depression, but I never really gave it the attention that it should have gotten. Because to me, I'm everybody got anxiety and depression, especially after COVID, everybody is feeling away. But once I sat down and got an assessment once my mom took me to where I needed to go and get the help that I needed to do, and I'll never forget it, the psychiatrist looked at me and he gave me, as we're talking, he handed me a piece of paper, and it had a bunch of questions on it. And he was like, answer these questions. And I didn't even know what the paper was. It was just a sheet of paper. He handed it to me. And he said, answer these questions. I said, all right, fine. I'll answer the questions. And I'm answering the questions. And I handed it back to him. And he looked at me. And he said, in order for me to diagnose you with something, you have to have at least 4 markers of that thing in order for you to be clinically diagnosed. I had 11 of the markers. And he was like, I could see it with my eyes closed. It was like, we got to get you on some meds, something. And so they put me on antidepressants, and those antidepressants ruined me. They set me into a psychosis. I was out of it. When I say out of it, like, I called my mom, like, Mom, I'm on an airplane to Las Vegas. She was like, Cieani, what? I was like, yeah, I'm leaving. I'm going to Vegas. She was like, Cieani, you have a house? You have bills? I said, yeah, I don't care.
Wait, so you were physically on an airplane, or you just told your mom?
No, I was physically on an airplane to Las Vegas.
Wow.
And my mom was like, Cieani, where are you? It was the week before Thanksgiving. She was like, where are you? And I was like, I'm on my way to Vegas. She was like, Cieani, what? I was like, yeah, I'll talk to you later.
Wow.
And
so you were still going to work and
and
going
functioning as normal, going to work, doing everything, and nobody around me knew like what was going on. But internally, I was in a state of psychosis, and I had no, like, my impulsivity was just out of this world. Like, you say, Cieani, let's go jump off a bridge. I'm like, let's do it, no parachute. Like, let's fly. And that's what ultimately ended up, you know, putting me in a position where I wanted to just end it all, because I'm like, at this point, I don't care about nothing. Like, I don't care about anything. And while I was there, they got me right. They got me the meds that I needed. They got me a proper diagnosis, and I went to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist suggested, I want you to do one thing for yourself that makes you happy. And I said, okay, I'll find something. I don't know what, but I'll find something. And that's how I ended up back in the kitchen. I ended up baking again. And in 2023, I launched Sweet Rose Creations, where I made cupcakes, custom cakes, things like that. That was ultimately what sparked my love for baking again, because I would bake for like friends and stuff, and they'll be like, yo, this is so good, like, you gotta sell this. I'm like, no, it's just a hobby. Like, my psychiatrist told me to do something fun, so I'm doing something fun. And I would be in the kitchen for hours. People be calling my phone. I know one time my mom came, she knocking at my door, she says, Cieani, are you okay? I said, yeah, what happened? She said, I've been calling you for like 3 hours. I said, I was baking. So that's ultimately how I ended up getting back into the kitchen. And it's so crazy because I am a very spiritual person. And I'm very open about that. The day that I tried to end my life is the day that I met Jesus, and I'm so grateful for that day. But I tell people all the time, the thing that tried to take me out is ultimately the thing that is supporting my family right now. So getting back into baking really brought out my joy again. And that's how we got here. Yeah. So now I have Sweet Rose & Co., Sweet Rose and Company. It's a mobile dessert bar that we just opened, and I'm super excited.
Not to cut you off, but I just want to say thanks for being vulnerable and sharing that story.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm glad that you're still here, because hearing you say that, again, I've been working on my empathy. I don't know how to, like, process when someone says something to me, because it's like, do I be extra and hug and be like, yo, I'm so glad you're here? But then some people need their space. So it's like I'm learning how to, I guess, process empathy. But honestly, I'm glad you're still here, because I can't imagine all that you're going through because, one, you're always excited. You, like, bring energy into a room. You're always glowing. So to hear that story, I'm like, what? How did that happen? But again, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad things worked out. And I'm sure it's still a process to experience it, but I'm glad you found your mojo in the kitchen.
Thank
because
you.
Them cakes is slamming.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I think I ordered 1, 2, maybe 4 cakes.
Too many.
Yeah. And now my family's starting to order them.
Yeah, they are, which I'm super grateful for. I do just want to touch on one thing that you said. You said you're always so excited and you're always so happy and you bring energy. Check on your strong friends. Check on your people, because mental health doesn't have to look away. People don't have to be sulking. You know, mental health or depression, anxiety, suicidal ideations, all of those things can look like a person smiling. It can look like a person happy. It can look like a person enthused about life. It doesn't have to look a certain kind of way. And I think I'm very big on that, because you're actually not the first person to say that. Once everything came out, that I was struggling mentally, everybody said the same thing. Cieani, how? Like, we never saw anything that made us question.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but nobody ever took the time to say, hey, how are you? Like, how are you feeling? One of the things that I said a lot when I was going through my journey of healing was, when I was in the state of psychosis, or when I was going through what I was going through, I felt like people were hearing me, but nobody was listening to me. And I think that that's a really big thing for people who struggle with mental health. We talk and we want people to understand, but it's hard for us to express, like, hey, this is how I'm feeling, without feeling like I'm being judged, or people are looking at me crazy, or, you know, talking down on me, or things like that. So check on your strong friends, check on your people.
Yeah.
Because just because they're not sad and moping and sulking, it does not mean that people are not hurting. And we live in a harsh world where you never know what's going on in someone else's head. You never know what's going on in someone else's home. So that's why I try, at least, especially with, you know, my business now, to just lead with kindness and remind people that no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter what you look like, I don't care if you blue, yellow, purple, green, you deserve respect and you deserve kindness. And for as long as, you know, you're around me, I'm always going to treat you with kindness, because when I was at my lowest, it took for people to actually see me and treat me with kindness for me to be able to pull myself out of where I was. So
I love that. I love how you say check on your friends. There was one time when I was starting this brand, I was like, I want to give my friends their props, just for like the motivation for checking in. And there was one time where I'll put a picture of my friend and shout out to this person. He did this for me. And I did like 20 of them. I was getting the phone calls like, yo, you good? Like, what's going on? Like, I was like, y'all just shouting people out. They're like, yeah, are you good? And it was different having someone check on you rather than seeing if you're okay.
Yes.
And I was like, what's going on? They're like,
yes.
Then the next person called. So they had their own conversation as a community before they reached out to me. So I'm going to emphasize that. Make sure you check on your friends. So growing this business,
yes,
you took it serious and you got, I don't know, these certifications you got. What are these certifications you got for this company?
It's a lot.
Okay.
So when you're working in the food industry, you need a lot of things. You need a lot of permits. You need a lot of paperwork. So it took me, it was actually, like I said, I had the Sweet Rose creations before I started Sweet Rose & Co. And it was actually, it was doing okay.
Yeah.
I had built clientele, people who trusted me with their parties, birthdays, things like that. And recently, back in February, myself, my husband, and my son, we took a trip to Puerto Rico, the motherland. And while we were out there, I don't know if you've ever been to Puerto Rico, but there's a lot of like street vendors.
Okay. I go to like Old San Juan.
Yeah.
I go to the touristy part.
Okay. So when you're
La Placita.
Well, I don't know if they have them like in the tourist area, but
okay,
there's a lot of like street vendors on the side of the road. So there's like pinchos, there's fruits, there's everything that you could think of. People are selling it on the side of the road in these little carts, just sitting there all day. And I'm like, I could do that. And while we're out there in Puerto Rico, I'm talking to my husband and I'm like, when we go back home, I think I want to start a cart. And he was like, oh, what? I said, yeah, a cart, like a cake cart. And I was like, look at all these people out here that this is their job. Like, I think this is so awesome. And he was like, you sure? And I said, yeah, let's see. Let me see what I need. And while I was in Puerto Rico on vacation with my family, I made a call to the New Jersey Health Department. And I said, what do I need to do to start a mobile vending business? And the young lady that I had on the phone, she was awesome. She sent me an email with everything that I needed, a list of just so many things. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. And my husband said, do you see how many things are on that list that you got to do? And I was like, yeah, but I'm going to do it and you're going to build the cart. And he said, I'm going to do what? And I was like, yeah, you're going to build it. And he was like, all right, I guess I'm going to build it. Like, I mean, if this is what you want. So when we got back home from Puerto Rico, we started doing some research into it, looking into what it would take, what it would cost to build the cart, things like that. The things that I needed to do for inspection, getting the business license, getting my food license, finding a commissary kitchen. There's like a bunch of things that you have to do. And we got it done in 34 days.
Wow.
We got the cart built, painted, decorated, inspected, licensed, and everything. And 34 days from the day that I made the phone call in Puerto Rico, I was licensed and open for business.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. How are you feeling about that? Because there's a lot of people, when you get to the end goal, you're like, oh, what's next? Because you're so excited about that one thing. And when you get there, there's that feeling of what's next? So what's next after?
So right now we are in the marketing phase.
Okay.
So I'm trying to market the business, trying to market to my audience.
Mm-hmm.
God works in mysterious ways, because before we were even licensed, before we got our license to be like our permit,
Mm-hmm.
we were able to book the bridal expo in PA.
Wow.
So we booked that, and that's May 17th. If anybody get married, just know y'all could hit me up.
All right, backtrack a little bit. Marketing. You say you're working on marketing. Why should people buy cakes from your company?
Oh, because we're the best. But we are the best, and I'm willing. Listen, I am so confident in not only my work, but what this has become, and the push that God has put in, the breath that God has breathed on this business, that I'm willing to go up against any baker, anywhere, anytime with my product, and know that mine is the best.
That's another podcast episode. I'll have to get a couple bakers
I'm
on.
just, listen, any baker, anywhere, anytime. Y'all can even meet me in my commissary kitchen. I'll pay for y'all to come. And I'm willing to that's how confident I am in my product. And the reviews that I've gotten for my product make me that confident. Like, I have that's why I say you are exactly who you think you are. When people spend their hard-earned money in this hard economy to pour into you and your business, and they repeat customers, or like they're repetitive customers, and they repeat business with you, that speaks volume. So for me, yeah, I'm willing to go up against anybody. That's why you should book with us, because you can put our cart up against any baker, anywhere, anything, and I can guarantee you will come out on top.
I love that energy. To wrap things up, again, I appreciate you sharing your testimony, and this is just a snippet of Cieani Cope Sierra. What's the last message that you would want to give to someone watching this podcast right now or listening?
Wow, I could say a lot, so much. I feel like we unpacked so much, but ultimately, it all boils down to there's like a bunch of things going in my mind right now, but I think all in all, put God first and everything else will follow. That's it. As long as you remain steadfast in the Lord and the word that he has left here for you, everything else will follow. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter if you're in school. It doesn't matter if you're working, if you're a parent, if you're waiting to be a parent, if you're in a season of waiting, if you're in a season of stillness, if you're in a valley, if you're just put God first, and everything else will fall where it needs to.
That is an amazing way to wrap up a show.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out and spending time with the Justice Decision podcast. We'll see you on the next one.